As we delve into today's discourse, we bring to you a matter of great importance and societal relevance. The Indian legal system is currently hearing a case on same-sex marriage, which has sparked a nationwide conversation. This case is being overseen by a constitution bench led by Chief Justice D.Y. Chandrachud, comprising Justices Sanjay Kishan Kaul, S. Ravindra Bhatt, P.S. Narasimha, and Hima Kohli. So let's take a closer look at this groundbreaking case. Starting with the key arguments presented by the petitioners in this case include the recognition of same-sex marriage under the Special Marriage Act and the need for gender-neutral interpretation of this act. Senior advocate Mukul Rohtagi argued for the recognition of petitioner as spouses under the law, stating that this right should be recognized by the state as under the Special Marriage Act, and that marriages should be recognized by the state as declaration by the court. He further emphasized the stigma faced by LGBTQIA+ individuals and the discrimination they face in various spheres of life. Senior advocate K.V. Vishwanathan argued that popular will cannot be anathema to the fundamental rights and that waiting for legislature to act is not necessary. Senior advocate Menka Guruswamy pointed out discrimination faced by same-sex couples in banks and other institutions, while senior advocate Abhishek Manju Singhvi emphasized the need for recognition of any marriage between two consenting adults. On the other hand, Solicitor General Tushar Mehta argued that the notion of biological men and biological women is limited to persons' genitals, and that the issue raised by central government regarding the maintainability of petitions should be heard first. During the hearing, CJI made important remarks, stating that the notions and definitions of genders are not limited to persons' genitals, and that the Special Marriage Act having men and women is not restricted to the genitals. He also cautioned that the court needs to allow Parliament to respond to the evolution of society and that the bench would have to examine the enforceability of the right to marry. The hearing of same-sex marriage in India is ongoing and the petitioners argued for recognition under Special Marriage Act and the defendants is arguing for a limited interpretation of gender. The judges have made important remarks regarding the definition of gender and the role of Parliament in responding to societal evolution. The hearing will continue tomorrow and we will keep you updated on any new developments. Before that, let's have a quick look at what are the key legal questions involved in this entire case. In this hearing, the key legal questions are related to the recognition of same-sex marriage in India. Specifically, the court is examining whether same-sex couples should be allowed to legally marry under the existing legal framework, and if not, what changes need to be made in legal framework to allow for same-sex marriage. The central government has raised objection to the maintainability of petitions, arguing that the issue falls within the domain of Parliament. The court will need to determine whether it has jurisdiction to hear or whether this is a matter that should be left to the legislature. The primary legislation involved in this case is Special Marriage Act 1954, which governs marriages between individuals belonging to different religion or castes. The Act allows for civil marriages to be performed by a marriage officer and it provides for legal framework for the registration of such marriages. The Indian Constitution is also central to this case, as the petitioners are seeking recognition of their right to marry under Constitution's guarantee of equality and non-discrimination. The recent decriminalization of homosexuality in India through the 2018 Navtej Singh Zohar vs. Union of India judgment is also relevant to this case. In Navtej Singh Zohar case, the Supreme Court struck down Section 377 of the Indian Penal Code, which criminalized consensual homosexual acts. The court held that criminalizing same-sex relations violated the right to equality, non-discrimination, privacy, and dignity guaranteed under the Indian Constitution. Other laws and regulations may also come into play, such as personal law that governs marriages and property rights in India. However, the focus of this case is primarily on Special Marriage Act and the constitutional right of the petitioners. Since the hearing will resume tomorrow, let's take a moment to review the latest update in this case thus far. Who are the parties involved and what petitions have been filed? It all started when a lead petition was filed by Supriyo Chakrabarti and Abhay Dang on 25 November 2022. A gay couple living in Hyderabad argues that the right to marry a person should be one's choice and should extend to LGBTQ+ citizens. They have been a couple for almost 10 years and had committed a ceremony in December 2021. But they still do not enjoy the same rights as a married couple. The second petition has been filed by a gay couple Parth Firoze Mehrotra and Uday Raj, contending that the non-recognition of same-sex marriage is violative of the right to equality under Article 14 and right to life under Article 21 of the Constitution. Following this, on 13 March 2023, Supreme Court decides plea for recognition of same-sex marriages to be heard by a constitution bench of 5 judges. The plea raised constitutional issues and the court transferred all similar cases from several high courts to itself in January. The central government opposed the petition, stating that state only recognizes heterosexual relationships for marriage. The Jamaat-e-Ulama-e-Hind, an Islamic religious body, filed an intervention application on 4th April, opposing the batch of petitions seeking legalization of same-sex marriages in India. The organization argued that same-sex marriages are a product of Western culture and should not be imposed in India. The Jamaat's application said that allowing petitioners' prayer will have adverse implications and further contended that religions have certain norms and rules and not complying with them makes one a sinner. The Delhi Commission Protection for Child Rights, on the other hand, filed an intervention application in Supreme Court on April 7, expressing their support for legalizing same-sex marriages and granting adoption and succession right to same-sex couples. The DCPCR highlighted that denying equal rights to homosexuals can have negative psychological impact and stated that current legal framework can be interpreted to accommodate such rights for same-sex couples. They also urged the court to raise public awareness about the normalcy of same-sex families and to eliminate homophobic content from school textbooks. The DCPCR believes that after Supreme Court's 2014 judgment in the Nalsa case, recognizing transgender as third gender, the state has a duty to not discriminate against the homosexual couples. Whereas the central government filed an application in the Supreme Court on 17th April seeking a decision on maintainability of petition seeking recognition of same-sex marriage. According to the government, the petition represents mere urban elitist views for the purpose of social acceptance. The personal law matter should be determined by legislature in accordance with popular will. While the National Commission for Protection of Child Rights opposes the adoption rights for same-sex couples before the Supreme Court on 17th April, the NCPCR claims that studies show that such children can be affected both socially and psychologically by adoption by same-sex parents, and it is also not in their interest to be raised by persons with issues. In conclusion, the ongoing hearing on same-sex marriage in India has brought into light important legal questions about recognition of same-sex couples under the existing legal framework. The argument presented by the petitioners and the defendants have highlighted the need for a gender-neutral interpretation of Special Marriage Act and importance for recognizing the right of two consenting adults to marry. As the hearing continues tomorrow, we eagerly wait for new developments and will keep you updated on the latest progress in this groundbreaking case. Thank you for watching our video. To read in detail, do visit our website. Link is in the description box, and do not forget to subscribe to our channel.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel and click the bell icon.